again, just giving 110%, and failure's not an option, and count the cost. Count the whole cost. Look at it from where it could end and just take it there. Understand that as a business owner, there are no holidays. Your holidays are off days. For instance, Christmas, that whole 2 week of Christmas, I won't take a vacation during that time. It'll be January the 7th. That's our Christmas. So you have to understand going in that it is a lot of hard work. You'll never work harder for anyone else. I promise you that. But it's very rewarding if you do it right.
Good morning, Savannah, and welcome to the Savannah Business Showcase. I'm your host, Taraz, and I am here, as usual, with a great guest, very special guest, Miss Delores Young Wilson. She is the owner of Nuts About Savannah. And Miss Wilson, Delores, the way I want to start the show is, the way I usually start the show is I do a scenario. Okay, so here you go. You're walking through your neighborhood, and a little kid comes up to you, and they say, Miss Wilson, Delores, you're my hero. I want to be like you when I grow up. So in the words that a 10 to 12-year-old can understand, what does it take to be Delores Young Wilson?
Wow. What does it take to be me? I would definitely say, as my father said to me once, there's two groups of people, and that would be a person that would learn, make a mistake, and then learn from that mistake. That person is counted as smart. And then there's another group of people who take someone else's mistakes and learn from them. That person is counted as wise. So you don't want to, it's always a wise thing to do is to learn from someone who's been there, done that.
Yeah. Don't
try to reinvent the wheel. Also, I wouldn't say to become me. I would definitely say to become your best person, and that is to put God first. I have definitely had bumps and bruises along the way, but I know that by putting God first, that I couldn't go wrong, even if I did things my way sometimes, because He does give us a choice. But put Him first, seek His face, and take every step and give every bit of yourself 110 as unto the Lord.
Okay, show over. So that was good. That was it. That's all we need.
That's it. Yes.
That's really, yeah. Okay. All right. Great.
That's it.
So, who are you? Tell people a little about who you are and what you do.
Well, I'm Delores Young Wilson, owner of Nuts About Savannah. We were formerly known as the Nutty Bavarian. Years ago, I was a stay-at-home homeschool children mom.
Okay.
Back in Atlanta, and I went through a divorce. And with that divorce, I had to learn quickly how to make ends meet within myself. So I went out and I got a real estate license and became a licensed realtor in Atlanta, selling real estate there. I did that, unfortunately, back in 2007, and we all know what happened in 2007.
Yep.
And 2008, there was a spiraling out of control world in which we knew as real estate. With that being said, I knew it was going to be difficult for people to buy a home. So my plan B was, let me start a property management business because it's going to be more renters than buyers out there now.
Right.
So I did that, acquired 12 to 15 homeowners that entrusted me their property, and I did that to support my family. And then slowly but surely my wheels were spinning in my head. What else can I do? I need residual income.
Right.
And so with that thought, I said, my brother-in-law, he already had a Nutty Bavarian going all over Atlanta, from the Brave Stadium and everywhere, and I didn't want to be in direct competition with him. So I thought, wait a minute, I'm from Savannah. My mom just lost her job. My daughter just started going to Savannah State. Let me go down there and see what I can do. And the Lord just opened the door. I was able to open up Nutty Bavarian in the Oglethorpe Mall in 2009.
Okay.
Employed them there. I was real estate and property management in Atlanta. And then the next year, I got my other Nutty Bavarian going in the Stonecrest Mall in Atlanta. So I was running that. The one in Savannah, my mom and my daughter was running, but I was going back and forth 2 weeks at a time, 2 weeks in Savannah, 2 weeks in Atlanta.
That had to be tough.
It was a little rough, yeah. And then I went, had real estate going on here as well.
Okay.
So I was trying to find some property for my aunt and other people that found out that I was doing real estate here in Savannah. Did that, and so now it became even more complicated. So now I have properties that I was managing in Savannah and Atlanta, clients that I was representing to buy or sell their home in Atlanta and Savannah, and then I had 2 businesses in Atlanta and Savannah. So Delores was just kind of haywire at this point. My son was in Atlanta in college or high school. It was an early learning academy that he attended. And my daughter was at Savannah State. So I had children in 2 separate cities as well. And things just kind of started spiraling out of control. And I'm only one person.
Right.
So I have people calling me here and there. And because while I was homeschooling my children, I developed a personal relationship with the Lord. And we became friends as I would get up at 4 a.m. every morning so that I can have devotion and work out for a couple of hours, then get my kids' day started. I became friends with the Lord. And as I drove from Savannah or to Atlanta, I'd spend most of my time talking to him. And one day I felt the urge that I couldn't do this anymore. I didn't know what to do. And I was just kind of feeling, as I said, spiraling out of control. My son, I went to Atlanta and I said, honey, do you mind coming back to Savannah with me for just the weekend? And for the first time, he agreed, because normally I would just leave him back in Atlanta and I would come to Savannah and then I'd go back.
Yeah.
Well, this time he agreed to come to Savannah with me. And when we got to Savannah, I got on my knees and I said, Lord, you said you wouldn't put more on me than I can bear, and I just can't bear this. So I need you to do me a favor. Lord, what I'm getting ready to ask you, I know is impossible, but with you, all things are possible. And so, Lord, I need you to stop time for me. And I didn't know how he was going to do it, but I knew that he could do it. If anybody else, nobody else could, but I knew that my Lord and my Savior knew I wasn't doing too well. And that year, Therese, there was a snow in Atlanta. That next day, there was a snow in Atlanta that had never hit the ground ever. Yeah. It was a snow that glazed Atlanta. So much so that I saw on the news the next day where people were ice skating to work.
I remember that, yeah.
That's right. It was tremendous. And Atlanta stopped. My employees couldn't go to work. The landlords couldn't call. Nobody was calling me. It stopped in Atlanta. And I had my son and my daughter with me safe in Savannah. It was sunny here. Yeah. I was able to take care of business here, but I didn't have to feel torn.
Yeah, time stopped for you.
But it stopped. Yeah. He stopped time for me because I requested it. And he was my friend. And I was able to gather myself and get myself together. And when my son and I drove back to Atlanta, I was like, oh my God. I mean, even the grass, you didn't see a blade of grass. It was just seriously iced over, just blanketed over with this ice. Awesome. Yeah. But I have to say that in my world, I don't have a plan B. With Nuts About Savannah, there is no plan B. He is the only plan. That's it. So I trust him, and he has proven himself time and time and time again in my life. And I was able to send both my kids to college and get this business going. And then in 2014, after so many people asking me, what's Bavarian about Nutty Bavarian here? Right. And I'm like, I don't know. I just bought into a franchise. Right. And So 2014, I went to God again. I said, I need a name. And that's how we birthed Nuts About Savannah, where we're nuts about you. And we do everything we do on purpose to everybody. We're just a business. And we try to exemplify that to everyone that walks through the door, regardless if it's a 50-cent purchase or a $50 purchase.
Right.
You're going to get the same service.
That's
Thank you for allowing me to share.
That's beautiful. Yeah. No, thank you for sharing.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful. I mean, this is not really a religious show, but 90% of the entrepreneurs I interview always bring up God. So that's something to be said there, because they're always very successful. And that's something to be said about Savannah. We're in the Bible Belt. But also, just thank you. Like, I needed that myself.
Absolutely.
I needed that. So thank you.
You're welcome.
So that said, why real estate? So I'll tell you this about me real quick. So I got into real estate too for a little bit. I was staying at home with my son for about 2 years really, and I did real estate on the side. So like, I love real estate. It taught me everything I know about business. So why real estate for you? Why'd you decide?
I mean, real estate, it was just a way of making a living. I knew people who were in real estate, and they were doing very well. And again, I had to take care of my family, and I had to come up with a awesome plan really quickly to be able to do that. But you know what? It turned out that it wasn't about real estate. It was about home ownership for people.
Yeah.
And so I would tell my clients, if you stick with me, I'm going to stick with you, and I'm going to get you to closing. And that's what I do. Okay. And even though I haven't been very active since I've moved to Savannah, which has been about 4 years ago, I'm back in the game.
Yeah.
Just purchased my home, my husband and I.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Absolutely. Thank you. And so we're putting my home on the other home that we have on the market. And I'm telling people right here in Savannah that it's not about me. It's about you. You got to stop renting. And you're going to edit this, right?
I can't. I don't know. I want to keep you laughing.
And I believe that we have to reach back. We have to pull back.
Yeah.
If we don't do it, nobody else will. If we don't see the need, nobody else will. If I don't come to you, they're not looking for you. If I don't go to that doctor or that dentist or that lawyer or that small business owner, nobody else is necessarily looking for you. But I will say this about Nuts About Savannah. We're going to give you, if we say we open at 9, we're going to be there at 9. If we say we close at 9, we're going to be there at 9. We're going to give you quality products every time. Every time. Quality service. So we are going to stand above that expectation all the time.
Yeah.
Because we are a business. But we have to remember to reach back. And that's how I look at Nuts About Savannah. I am so blessed to be able to employ about 6 employees. That's a blessing. I've had a young lady with me. Absolutely. She's been with me for about 7 years. And one thing that I love about what I do is I can exploit these kids. And what I mean by that, this young lady, she is my artist.
Okay.
She is our store merchandiser. She decorates the store. She decorates the baskets.
Yeah.
And she's my office assistant. So she started off as just a regular cashier, sales associate. Now she has all these titles. I have a young man, he's a junior, I believe, at Armstrong. He's a marketing major. He does my social media now. He's taking my pictures. So I'm giving back. I'm getting a bigger reward than just being a business owner.
And they are too, because
absolutely.
Because what people are looking for is experience. It doesn't matter what your degree is, but you're giving them valuable experience.
That's right. And regardless if I'm homeschooling my children, teaching at a private school industry, which I've done as well, had my own business, now have another business, giving 110%. I don't care if it's a stepping stone, and this is what I tell my staff. This may just be a stepping stone for you. But if you give 110, I don't care where you go, people are going to notice. Your reputation will have preceded you, and you're going to do well wherever you go. Don't just do it for Nuts About Savannah. Do it for you. because it will precede you, and
Yep.
you will do well everywhere you go.
That's true. That's
Absolutely.
true. Very true. Yeah, that's why, a previous guest on the show,
Yes.
Lori Williams. Mm-hmm. Is that her last name?
Brown.
Lori Brown, Aunt Lori's Baskets. Yeah, Lori Brown. That's why she connected us, because she knew that you have an amazing story to tell,
Yes.
and that I enjoyed interviewing people. So,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Also, we have another mutual guest,
Sure.
Ernestine Williams.
Yes, yes,
She's
yes. The
over-
water lady.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
So she hosts a event here every now and then, right? Why do you let her host the event here, and how is that helping you as a business?
I mean, again, it's reaching back. And it's not at this location, it's at the Savannah Mall location, where we have a 2,200 square foot building. Well, there, we're an inline space, big store. We have the seating area. No one's sitting there. Ernestine needed a helping hand, so come on in. We also have other businesses, Ignite. They meet there on Sundays.
Okay.
We have a church group that comes and meet there from time to time. We have kids from Armstrong who can come over and have a study group. We're going to give them some fresh coffee or herbal teas or fresh baked cookies or what have you. We've got it all. Yeah, absolutely.
That's great.
And so again, it's all about reaching back and helping those that are coming along beside you. And it's just so important to remember not where you are, but where you came from. So that's just what it's all about.
Yeah. Delores, I am happy I've made it here today. This is good.
Absolutely.
So have you ever read the book, The Go-Giver?
I have not.
No? Okay. I'm going to have to get you a copy of that, because it's a great book, and there's a story in there that parallels your story. So I'm not going to go through it on the radio,
sure.
but I'll figure out a way to get it to you. What else? So how was homeschooling? Because I've thought about it, because the school system doesn't really teach the kids everything they need to know to be successful in life. So I've thought about it, but I don't know if I'm the type of person that could do it. So how was homeschooling?
Now, interesting, you would say you don't think you're the type of person that can do this.
Yeah.
Do you love and care about your children?
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Do you care about their education? Absolutely. So with those two components, I'm going to tell you something, you are equipped as long as you have the discipline to do it. Because my whole thought was, I don't want to fail my children. My children are my future. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it falls back on me. So I wrote out a plan. They're going to get up at 7 a.m. just like they would if they were going to regular school. They can be in their pajamas. I didn't care about that part. But they're going to get up. They're going to brush their teeth and wash their face, have their breakfast, have their devotion, and get started with their schoolwork. But one thing that I could do that you can do as well is I was able to impute in my children home economics. I was able to include piano lessons in Spanish and sign language. My daughter and I, we sign to this day because of that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we have the time to interject the things that school has actually taken out. So they're now pianists. My daughter is a songstress. She can sign. She speaks Spanish. All those things were able because I made the time to homeschool my children. And what I did to supplement my income, I had a summer camp so that their friends could come over.
Gotcha.
What a better way of having them to be involved as well as educated. So I had a summer camp, and they didn't just come to play, they came to learn first. Same thing, you come in the door, you're going to have your devotion, you're going to do this, and then we're going to get started with our play. And there was always a balance. I always thought about that balance. I didn't want it just to be school, so that they hate it.
Yeah.
I wanted it to actually include field trips and things like that. So almost every Friday we took a field trip. Those kids were all over Atlanta, okay? They did everything. That's right. And so we went to Indian preserves. We went just everywhere. Think about the possibilities that you give your child that a private school may not even touch.
Right.
That's why we send them to private school, because they get so much more. They're getting that private, personal attention from dad and mom. And that's why I did it.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Okay.
I like that.
Okay. One thing I can say about that in all seriousness as well is the things that I was not an expert in, I found someone else that was homeschooling, and it was their field. So
Gotcha.
my daughter went for biology and chemistry to another schooling home, and she got those classes. Same with the math component. We were able to send them somewhere else. Same with the piano lessons in Spanish. So I didn't have to be all things to every subject.
Gotcha. Okay.
That was that's
block.
major. Exactly. So it's out there, and you can do it.
Okay. So here's another question I usually ask a lot of local business owners is how. So you've been in Savannah. You were born and raised in Savannah,
Yes.
correct? Came back, you've owned businesses here in Atlanta. Like, how have you seen Savannah change over the past, say, decade or so, or 5 years or so even, as far as business goes?
Well, I was very young when I left Savannah. I was around 20 years old. So I didn't see much. I had a strict father, and so I didn't see a whole lot. But I do know that not a whole lot have changed.
Okay. Why so? How so?
Savannah, we have the Georgia ports, we have government states, things like that, and that still is a big resource for Savannahans, is what I can tell. I am a member of the Small Business Chamber and a member of the Buy Local, and so I see the type of businesses. It's just we're still a close-knit, family-oriented type business system here in Savannah.
Gotcha.
And so I see it still intact.
Gotcha. How do you like Buy Local?
I love it.
Yeah.
I do. Mickey Minnick, I met him haphazardly, just, I don't know, it was in a coffee shop or what have you.
Yeah.
And he told me, he said, this will be the best $100 you could have invested in any membership. And he was exactly right. As a result of it, we're all over Savannah now. To a point, we've gotten a great start as a result of it.
Right.
So we're now in the Hyatt Regency. We're now in Local Lobby, Holiday Inn and Hampton Inn. We're in the Telfair Museum. So, we have Auntie Lori's. And so we're making our way around Savannah.
Yeah, I'm supposed to interview Mickey soon.
Wonderful.
We just haven't set a date yet.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah, so I'm excited to learn more about Buy Local.
Absolutely, yes.
What else do I have? Why? So, like, what is it? What do you think about you is different, right? Because you're from Savannah. Savannah's a small city. Why do you think you're different? What made you want to start a business and be successful at it?
Well, I have to reach back again and say that it in everything you do, you give 110%. That's my motto. I'm going to give 110. So I started a small business. I didn't want to keep it a small business. I wanted more. And I have to say that starting off, being born and raised here in Savannah, I didn't see a lot of possibility for myself. It was overqualified, underqualified. I went away to Atlanta and I saw possibility. And I don't really need to elaborate on that, but one thing that a person like yourself would ask me, how did you do it?
Yeah.
And I would have to say that nobody told me I couldn't. I have a lot of folks coming in and out of the store saying, how did you do it?
Yeah.
And I just said, I just did it. Nobody told me I couldn't. So nobody said, oh, no, you can't because you need a business license. You can't because you've got to, you need product. You can't because no one said that. Everyone told me what I needed. And I did it. And really, that's the only way I can round it off up to is just to say nobody said it couldn't be done.
Yeah.
So I did it. And I gave 110. And I said to him, if you bless me, I am going to do 110. I'm going to do all that I know to do to make it a success every single day.
It's a quote. The quote by Ayn Rand. The question is not who's going to let me, but who's going to stop me.
There you go.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I liked it a lot. Nobody told you you couldn't do it.
That's right.
And even if they did, it wouldn't matter.
No, it wouldn't. Failure was not an option. Amen.
So,
Right.
so are you both of you say you had 2 kids, right?
I have 2 children.
Are they in Savannah still?
No.
Okay.
Amber is now in the Navy. She's 3 years in the Navy. She's 26 and married. Jonathan is in Atlanta. He's 23. He's married, and
Okay.
they're both doing very, very well.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. That's a blessing.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That's
absolutely.
very lucky for that. That's
Yes.
awesome. And that's so I don't know if the listeners can tell, but we're both black. And I'm
Absolutely.
new here, but when I went to Atlanta, and I went because I just bought a rental property there, so I
Okay.
might have talked to you later.
Yes.
But and I went to the courthouse to get all the documents and stuff for the deeds, and like everybody was black. And it was like, for me, it was like an eye-opening experience because I'm not used to that. Like, it's not even the people, of course, not the people working behind the counter, the
Right.
judges,
Everybody.
everybody, and it was
You see possibility.
you see possibility, yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
That's right.
and not in a negative way, but
No.
in a great way,
It's a great way.
yeah,
That's right.
right.
That's right.
Okay, so why stay in Savannah?
This is home. My parents are here. They're getting older. And, interesting enough, I felt like I would always retire back to Savannah because it is so peaceful and beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But I had planned to do it a lot later. I'd planned to do some things back in Atlanta. But I had a plan and God had a plan.
Mm.
And my plan fell through.
Mm-hmm.
I met and married my husband. Like I said, we brought a home together, and I've just inherited my 3 stepchildren and 5 grandchildren,
Oh, nice.
and it's a blessing.
Yeah.
I mean, I miss Atlanta. It's home also, but this is home, And my mom, she helps out here at the shop from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
My dad, we have our date nights and
Yeah.
still get to hang out, and I get to see them grow old, and I love every minute of it. Absolutely.
So what value do you think Nuts About Savannah adds to Savannah?
Wow.
Yeah.
Savannah, Nuts About Savannah is so unique. I know you look around and say, who are your competitors? And I would definitely have to say that we have so many unique qualities that I don't consider myself in the race with anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know we have several amazing companies here, but Nuts About Savannah, you can come on site, which many people do, and see where we're roasting cinnamon glazed pecans, cashews, and almonds on site. I do also educate them, letting them know the benefits of cinnamon and the nuts. Cinnamon helps to lower your LDL as well as your blood sugar. A lot of people don't know that. A teaspoon a day will help to regulate your blood sugar and to lower your LDL. The cashews, good for bone density and memory loss. Pecans, cholesterol free. Almonds, heart healthy.
Yeah.
They have the omegas in them. A lot of people don't know that. But also what makes us unique, other than roasting on site, you're getting your products fresh off the roaster. But you can also go inside of our parent store in the Savannah Mall and have one of those trays that's completely empty and fill it yourself. You know how you might go inside of a store and you gotta grab what they have because that's all they have?
Right.
You come into Nuts About Savannah, we have candy by the pound, salted and unsalted nuts by the pound, cinnamon roasted nuts, chocolate nuts, and you fill that tray with what you want. And yes, we already have some that are pre-made because we have people that don't want to make a choice for themselves. So we have that option.
That's how I am, yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, but we have them in glass and trays and bags, all sorts of varieties. We also have gourmet flavored popcorn, and the packaging is beautiful, but we create our own thing. For instance, we have the white and dark chocolate drizzle popcorn over caramel.
Yeah.
Is your mouth watering already? It's so good. And we create that. And so again, you can come inside, and if you have a wedding or a favorite football team, like I'm a ride or die Falcons fan, and I know
Okay.
nobody else is, but I am.
not right now.
Exactly. But you, again, you can come in and get and order that flavored popcorn, white, red, black, and we'll package it for you. You can have a basket customized. We also ship and deliver. Again, who's our competitors? I don't say that we have any. I think we have some great companies out there, but Nuts About Savannah is in a class all by themselves.
Yeah. And only is better than best.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. thank you. You went to your spill there, and now I want some nuts. So thank you for being on the show. Everybody out there listening, we'll be right back to put Delores through the lightning round. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in a second. Thanks for listening. Oh, real quick, Delores, how can people find you?
Nutsaboutsavannah.com, or we're at 41 Drayton Street, as well as Savannah Mall, 14045 Abercorn Street, next to Burlington's Coat Factory.
Awesome. We'll be right back in a second. All right, Savannah, welcome back to the Savannah Business Showcase. Once again, I'm your host, Therese, and I am here with a great guest, one I did not expect to be this amazing, but she is, Miss Delores Wilson, Young Wilson, Miss Delores Young Wilson. And we're going to put her through the lightning round. Are you ready?
I am.
What did you want to be as a kid, and how does that relate to your current business?
I just wanted to be a businesswoman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That relates.
Yes.
How have you approached failure in life?
I pick myself up, dust it off, and keep it going.
Okay. Short and sweet. So tell me a story about a failure.
My marriage, my first marriage, was a failure. I knew going in it wasn't a good start. And in the end, I said, Lord, you just got to get me out of this. And he did. And it didn't come without bumps and bruises and lessons learned, but we got through it. So, yes. Okay.
And you're clearly not alone in that. So what advice do you have for a entrepreneurial person, woman that's about to go through a situation like that?
Just had a lady to come up to me with that story, and I just told her to hold on to your faith, write a plan, and follow that plan. There's a great book out there. It's called The Dream Giver.
Okay.
And it's about a boy named Ordinary, and Ordinary is in the land of familiar. And he has to get through that invisible wall of fear. And that's where we all have to go through from time to time, is that invisible wall of fear. We're fighting against ourselves. If we can get through that invisible wall of fear, then we can go so many places. Our destination is endless.
I like that. How did you get your first client? It could be in real estate, or it could be in
well, my first client in real estate, I was sitting on site in Atlanta for Cardinal Realty, and that client came on site, and I showed them the house, yes. First client as a resale agent was just a matter of referral.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
I don't meet any strangers, and so I talk to everyone. Yeah. And I'm sure it came that way. It's been over 10 years now. Yeah. So, yes.
Is that how you get most of your clients here, referral, or where do you see most of your clients come from?
Here, we used to yell out, and for those that are listening, you're going to remember, get your free samples, cinnamon glazed pecans, cashews, and almonds, get your free samples. We just stood out in the mall and would call those words out, and people would come over. And, of course, the smell did its job as well.
I'm sure it did.
So, yes.
What are you going to teach your children about entrepreneurship, or what did you teach your children?
Again, just giving 110%, and failure's not an option, and count the cost. Count the whole cost. Look at it from where it could end, and just take it there. Understand that as a business owner, there are no holidays. Your holidays are off days. For instance, Christmas, that whole 2 week of Christmas, I won't take a vacation during that time. It'll be January the 7th. That's our Christmas. So you have to understand going in that it is a lot of hard work. You'll never work harder for anyone else. I promise you that. But it's very rewarding if you do it right.
So you said failure is not an option a few times now. But there's a lot of influence I listen to, and people out in Silicon Valley and business experts, they always say to fail fast and fail often. So what are your takes on that? My take on that is, like some wonderful, wise person told me, is you can look at a failure. When I had to close my business out of the Oglethorpe Mall and open it in the Savannah Mall, she said, don't look at it as a failure, but as a successful ending. So, yes, sometimes we have to pick ourselves up, dust it off, and keep it moving. It doesn't necessarily mean you failed. Right.
So yes.
What did you have to sacrifice in order to start your business?
Again, family, holidays, yes, time at home, time doing the things that others want to do. I told my family this year for Thanksgiving, they want to come over and have Thanksgiving dinner at my home. I said, here is the key. Go in and make yourself feel at home. I'll be there on Thanksgiving Day.
All right. Yeah, hey, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
What's one thing in your business that drains you of energy, and what's one thing that excites you?
The time. It's very time consuming.
Mm-hmm.
One thing about being a business owner sometimes also is that when your staff calls out, you've got to be that person that steps in and do it.
Yeah.
You have to be there when no one else is there. The rewarding part is what I get out of seeing any customer's face walk through the door. I greet everybody the same.
What's something you consume religiously? It could be a blog, a TV show, YouTube, podcast, food. Can't say nuts.
Oh, wow. Something I consume religiously? I don't know. Something I consume religiously. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have anything.
Okay, we could pass.
Yeah, probably just spending quality time with my husband and watching The View. I record it.
Okay, all right.
I love The View. Yes.
All right. What's something most people don't know about you?
That I have a story.
Okay. You told me a little bit about your story. What's the story you want to tell? Well, is there a story you haven't told?
There's a lot of stories I haven't told. But I can just honestly say that most of my stories are God-centered. Most of my stories are how God saved the day. He came to my rescue. And he was there.
Yeah.
And he's never left me. And he's never forsaken me. He was always there.
Beautiful. All right. Okay, so you're also a speaker now, right? Because you've spoken at a few places.
Yes.
Where have you spoken at, and do you think you're going to pursue that more?
Well, I mean, interesting enough, if folks ask me to come and speak, I'll be happy to speak because I don't consider it as speaking. I definitely consider it as helping others. By telling my story, it reaches others and help them to see that I can do this too. Mm-hmm. Nobody is exempt from the possibilities of their dreams and where they want to go.
What was the last experience that made you a stronger person?
Wow. Again, I faced many hurdles as a single woman, as a businesswoman, as a mother. My aunt, I was just told she had lung cancer, stage 4.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And I could not believe it. She was my Atlanta mother, is what I called her. Strong business owner, wonderful, wonderful person, listening ear. And I asked my son, I said, you got to bring her here. And just over the weekend, he brought her to me. And I just waited on her hand and foot.
Yeah.
And I delighted in doing that because what I didn't want is to get the news that, she has gone on.
Yeah. And
I didn't know, and I didn't get a chance to give her flowers while she was still here.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to give her something that she and I both could remember, and that is time spent together.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Especially even with kids, because they don't remember the gifts.
That's right.
They remember the time.
That's right. Yes.
Okay. On to something lighter. When was the last time you had an amazing meal?
You know, I love entertaining.
Okay.
And when you come to my house, you rise in the morning, I'm going to say good morning, and then I'm going to ask you, what do you want?
Okay.
And I asked everyone that came to the house over the weekend, what did you want? And my son and his wife wanted pancakes and chicken sausage, so I fixed them their meal. And then some others had some turkey bacon and eggs and croissant rolls and grits, and I made that for them. And then my mom decided to pop over, and everything was gone, so I had to go in there and just kind of gather some stuff up, and it was the best meal. I made her a grilled salmon with eggs and toast, coffee and orange juice, and everyone had already eaten, but they're looking at her like, oh my God. So besides just doing what I love to do, which is entertaining and cooking for people and bringing a smile to their face, we enjoy a restaurant here in Savannah. It's called The Vault, and they have the most amazing chicken, curry chicken or some kind of dish. It's just awesome. So that was a pretty amazing meal. I don't rave over meals much, but that's one of them that we especially like.
Okay, that's the one where it's in an old bank, right?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
What story does your family always tell about you?
I am a personal neighborhood watch. I am very nosy. And one time in Atlanta, I saw, I was leaving from my mechanic, and I saw like 10 or 12 police cars whooshing by, and I was like, oh my God, where are they going? Wonder what's going on. And after the last car left, I left and went behind them, and then all of a sudden I lost the trail from the police officers, and I'm like, oh my God, where did they go? Where did they go? And then all of a sudden I saw the helicopter swooshing overhead, and I'm like, there they are, I bet they're over there. So I went down into the neighborhood, and I drove down, and all of a sudden there were machine guns and guns pointing from the right and the left, and there was a standoff, and they shouldn't have let me through, but I actually went through, and it was a one-way, no dead end street.
Oh no.
And I went down this street, and I was like crying because I shouldn't have did it anyway. But I had to see what was going on so I could report the news to everybody. And I cried all the way just coming back up out of that standoff. And so I think everyone in the family remembers that. I don't think I'll ever forget it.
Oh man, that's funny.
Yeah, so that's one of my interesting stories.
Okay, all right. You got to open up the shop in a minute, so we'll round off with a few more. What's your favorite book?
My favorite book, probably the Bible. I would have to say the Bible. I read my Bible every day.
Okay.
Yes.
There's a concept called the 80-20 principle, Pareto's principle. 20% of the actions you take equal 80% of the results. So in Nuts About Savannah, what are the 20% of things you do to get you the most results?
It's always be prepared. I come in every day with the expectancy that we're going to do great things. I come in with a sense of urgency every day because I don't know what the day is going to bring. And if I came in with the urgency of making sure I'm fully prepared, then I can face anything. That is my 80, or my 20 rather.
Do you think this is your life's calling?
This is one of my life's callings, yes.
Is there a quote that's always been a mantra that you live by? Or scripture?
Well, in all you do, do it with all of your strength, all of your might, all of your will. Just everything you do, give it 110. My favorite scripture is, delight yourself in the Lord, and He'll give you the desires of your heart. Yes.
Do you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert?
Probably a little bit of both, but mainly an extrovert.
Two more. If you had a superpower or ability, what would you choose and why?
Well, based on the story I told you about the policeman, the ability would be to be able to hear people's minds and what they're thinking. But just knowing what to do to be successful and to be able to pass that along to others.
Mm-hmm. And advice for entrepreneurial kids?
Go to school.
Yeah.
Go all the way, as far as you can go. Education is the key nowadays. We don't know where the next century is going to take us. We know that robots are taking over, so apparently it's going to be somewhere in the science and math arena. But go to school and stay there and listen to your parents.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, beautiful. Well, we're going to round the show off with that. So thank you, Delores, for being on the show.
It's been my pleasure.
How can people find you again?
We're at 41 Drayton Street, just off of Broughton Street. We're also in the Savannah Mall on the lower level in front of the Salt Plate area, just before you get to Burlington. Please come see us.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
All right, thank you everybody out there for listening and sticking in here with us. You can find us on Facebook, Savannah Business Showcase, Twitter, Instagram, all those good places. But as usual, just be the change you want to see in the world. Go out there and do something impactful. We don't have much time on earth, so you have to make the best of it. So take action this week. I love you guys, and we'll see you next time.